Welcome to Safety with Zahid. Today we will discuss one of the most important concepts in health, safety and environment, which is safety. Many people use the word safety every day, but very few truly understand its meaning and purpose. In this session, we will learn what safety really means, why it is important, and how it works in practical industrial environments. When people hear the word safety, they often think about PPE such as hard hats, safety shoes, gloves, and safety glasses. Although PPE is an important part of workplace safety, safety is much more than simply wearing protective equipment. For example, a worker may wear all required PPE and still get injured if hazards are not properly identified and controlled. Therefore, safety should never be limited to PPE alone. Safety is the process of identifying hazards, assessing risks, and implementing effective controls to prevent harm. The objective of safety is to protect people, equipment, property, the environment, and business operations. In simple words, safety means preventing incidents before they happen rather than reacting after something goes wrong. This preventive approach is the foundation of every successful safety management system. Now here's a question: why do we need safety? We all know every workplace contains hazards. Whether we work in a factory, warehouse, construction sites, office, or oil and gas facility, hazards are present around us every day. Forklifts, cranes, electrical systems, chemicals, moving machinery, hot surfaces, and working at height all have the potential cause to harm. Now, without proper controls, these hazards can result in injuries, fatalities, equipment damage, environmental incidents, and production losses. And this is why safety is essential in every workplace. To understand safety, we must first understand hazard. A hazard is anything that has the potential to cause injury, illness, damage, or loss. Example includes suspended loads, moving forklifts, exposed electrical cables, chemicals, and unguarded machinery. It is important to remember that a hazard exists even when no accident has occurred. Identifying hazards early is one of the most important steps in preventing incidents. Now, when we talk about risk is different from a hazard. Risk refers to the likelihood that a hazard will cause harm and the severity of the consequences if it does. For example, a forklift operating in a controlled area may present a low risk. However, if the same forklift is speeding through a pedestrian area, the risk becomes much higher. This is why safety professionals focus on managing risk rather than simply identifying the hazards. Now, let's consider a simple workplace example. Imagine that you notice an oil spill on the floor. If the spill is ignored, someone may slip, fall, and suffer an injury. However, if the spill is identified, reported, cleaned, and corrective actions are taken, the incident can be prevented. This is a practical example of how safety works in everyday operations. Now, when we talk about safety in action, safety becomes effective when action is taken. The process is simple. First, identify the hazard. Second, report the hazard. Third, correct the hazard. Fourth, verify that control measures are effective. And finally, ensure the issue does not happen again. I'll repeat. First, identify the hazard. Second, report the hazard. Third, correct the hazard. Fourth, verify that control measures are effective. And finally, ensure the issue does not happen again. When this process is followed correctly, accidents and injuries can often be prevented before they occur. Safety management follows a continuous cycle. First, hazards are identified. Next, the risks are assessed, and appropriate controls are then implemented. The effectiveness of those controls is monitored, and improvements are made whenever necessary. This continuous improvement process is used in safety management systems around the world, including ISO 45001. Now, let us look at an industrial example. Imagine several pipes are stored on a rack and appear unstable. If those pipes rose unexpectedly, they could strike workers and cause serious injuries. To control the hazard, pipe chokes, stopper blocks, barricades, inspections, and proper storage arrangements should be implemented. This demonstrates how hazard can be controlled before an accident occurs. When we talk about proactive safety, professional organizations do not wait for accidents to happen. Instead, they focus on proactive safety. Activities such as risk assessments, safety inspections, toolbox talks, near-miss reporting, safety observation, and preventive maintenance helps identify problems before they become an incident. Prevention is always more effective than investigation after an accident. Now, who is responsible for safety? One of the biggest misconceptions in industry is that safety is the only responsibility of HSE department. In reality, safety is everyone's responsibility. Workers must follow procedures and report the hazards. Supervisors must monitor activities and enforce controls. Managers must provide leadership and resources. The HSE department then provide guidance, monitoring, and continuous improvement. Safety can only be successful when everyone participates. A strong safety culture exists when people do the right things even when nobody's watching. It is built through leadership commitment, workers' participation, open communication, hazard reporting, and continuous improvement. Organizations with a strong safety culture generally experience fewer incidents and overall better performance. Safety culture is not built overnight. It requires commitment from everyone. Effective safety management provides many benefits. It protects workers from injuries and illness. It reduces equipment damage and production downtime. It improves productivity, employee morale, and organizational reputation. It also supports compliance with legal and regulatory requirements. Most importantly, it helps ensure that people return home safely to their families and beloved ones every day. I would like you to remember one important message. Safety is not just a helmet. Safety is not just a permit. Safety is not just a checklist. Safety is not just a procedure. In fact, safety is a mindset. It's all about thinking before acting, recognizing hazards, and making safe decisions even when nobody's watching you. True safety starts with personal responsibility. In conclusion, safety is the continuous process of identifying hazards, assessing risks, and implementing controls to prevent harm. The safest workplaces are not necessarily those with the most rules. They are the workplaces where people genuinely care about safety and actively participate in creating a safe working environment. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to Safety with Zahid for more practical HSE trainings, safety awareness, and professional development.